It's gone from cold and wet, or cool and wet, to warm, and for the time being, dry. So after having a coffee over there, a coffee shop over there, which is not bad coffee. Pretty interesting. It's like an antique shop sort of feel to it. Which I'll move on. Ooh, a bit of a false change there, first and second. Yeah, these quick shifters, better, they work a lot better above 2,500 revs. So I generally just stick to the manual clutch feel, I think in a way the quick shifter's a bit wasted on this bike, meaning it is a bit of a chunky bike. I'm not saying that in an overly negative way, I don't really mean that, but if you compare it to even the Versus 650, it is definitely a more trail bike feel than a mid-size sports touring bike. Having said that, once you get used to that big chunky ergonomics, and it sort of gives you the impression when you first ride it, it's a big person's bike, but then you realise who ride it. I'm a short person, 5'7", 28-inch inseam, so when I say it's probably the perfect riding triangle, the knee bend, I can ride this for hours and not get any pain in my knees, and I'm getting on a bit, I'm closer to 60 than I am to 31, put it that way. So, yeah, so when you can get a sort of older person saying, well, there's no knee pain, and there's no pain at all in this riding, but I'm a shorter rider, so we can only give our own experience and not say I get a bit peed off with YouTube videos, so you can easily flat foot this bike. I'm 6'2", and I can easily flat foot this bike. They don't even give a leg inseam, because if I could be 5'8" and have 32-inch inseam, so I would flat foot this quite easily, and maybe have a bit of knee pain because the rider triangle's diminished, between the seat and the pegs. So I've got longer legs, and I'd have to bend my knees more. But what I can say for my height, 5'7", 5'8", 28-inch inseam, it's just about perfect. And I can stand up like this and feel pretty comfy. I can cover. I probably should have my maybe my levers a bit higher. Maybe the slightest. Yeah, it's hard to say. I was going to say give it bar rises. It's pretty good as it is. Same as the 300 Rally. It was like the 300 Rally was made for a 5'8" person and 28-inch legs. So if you maybe 29-inch legs, 30-inch, it'd be pretty similar. But I think once you get up to about 30, 31, 32-inch legs, you might have to put. I've got the lower seat, so that accounts for 1 inch. It's just under 1 inch lower seat, less padding. So I think if you're 30 to 32 inches, you may want to have that taller seat just for that rider triangle. But you may say, well, hey, I can bend my knees when I flat foot, and you might be an off-road rider. I'd say the perfect setup for taller riders would be to have a lower seat when you're going off-road riding, and put the taller seat on when you're going long distances. For an extra $300, you can have 2 seats, and those seats just click in, click up with a key. They're not very hard to put back in and that. I've got 2 seats. I've got the tall seat at home. I'm a 23, and I just use the low seat all the time because I'm short, but I can see how that would work. So, you get the gist, because if I had an even lower seat still, and I was going off-road, I could bend my knee while I'm flat-footing on one side, which gives you a lot more strength. Trip just tried get on a camber, an on camber, where when you put your left foot down, there's only a small reach to the ground. It's built up, and see how easily you can tilt your bike that way without it tipping over, because of your strength of your bent leg. It's all trial and error. It's all trial and error. But I'd hate to see somebody who's about 34-inch legs buys this bike and they have knee pain, because this bike's too comfortable. You should be able to ride this bike 4, 5, 6 hours straight. Yeah, of course, we stop for fuel. We might stop for a coffee, but you get a guess, 8-hour days with little breaks. You should be able to do that on this bike, because it is a very comfortable bike. And as I say again, for shorter riders, I'm talking about for myself, I can see the longer legs. So maybe the Africa Twin, being taller, would, if you've got, be over 6 foot with 32-inch, 34-inch inseam legs, you're probably better on the Africa Twin for that reason, where you can still touch the ground easily, but that rider triangle's still okay for you. It's all trial and error. It all depends where the foot pegs are placed, and every bike's a little bit different, But I can confidently say if you're between 27-inch inseam and 30-inch inseam with a low seat, for up to 28, 29-inch inseam, you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to, with 27-inch, you're just about able to flat foot with a low seat. So you don't want to be too short a rider on this bike. You'd have to lower the suspension.